Jonathan, and this is my son Elisha.
Hi.
And welcome back to our pilgrim journey. This last year gave us the opportunity to do some traveling. We ended up traveling quite a bit this last year, and the Lord was so good to us. And it was just a very new experience for our family. But about the middle of last year, a little before the middle of May, we decided to buy a travel van.
May 27th.
May 27th. We decided to buy a travel van that would that we would take on the trips, but it's not our daily driver. So anyway, so we were looking around for that, and we found a 99 Dodge Ram conversion van, and as you'll soon find out, it's me, my wife, and our 4 children. And so the conversion van was a good option for us, and we found this on Facebook Marketplace, went and looked at it, decided to buy it, and it's been a great van for us. The drive's nice, very comfortable, and it's treated us very well. It's never left us stranded. We've never had any issues out of it except for a couple of odd end things, and I did, when we first bought it, I did a whole bunch of maintenance to it. However,
the AC went out.
It did go out, but yeah, we were able to drive. It was just really hot.
Yeah.
And it went out at the worst time. Yeah.
In summer.
Yeah.
Like
but we
July.
got that fixed, and now it works great. But little things like that, but it's always been a dependable van. So one thing that we've noticed is with the bigger vans, obviously with the gas prices going up, I did some tracking on what my fuel economy was on this big thing, and we were getting about 16 mile per gallon on the highway. Now, I only did it a few times, and I'm sure sometimes it went up a little higher than that, depending on if we were driving up mountains or if we were just more level. More level plane. So, but I wanted to try to up that fuel economy up, because if I can get it to go up a little bit, then I can justify getting rid of our other daily family vehicle and just using this full time for the traveling and for the daily vehicle and all that. So what I did was a couple months ago, I decided to purchase E3 spark plugs for the van, and I got a brand new set of plug wires. And I'm hoping to change these out. It already has a new air filter. I'm going to check a few other odd end things that we'll walk you through. My hope with this is these are supposed to add fuel economy. I've actually seen reviews where they do up fuel economy, even when it's just a single spark plug engine. I'm hoping that being 8 spark plugs, it actually ups the fuel economy a little bit more than that. And hopefully in the future we'll kind of update you if we actually got better fuel economy out of the van. And it actually worked out well, because we just got in the van the other day, because we hadn't driven it for a couple months. And we got in the van the other day, and sure enough, it had a misfire. Now, that misfire has already come out of it, but I was like, this is another reason to do it. And now that we've hit a warm spell, I'm going to take time to do work out here in the garage. I'm going to do work out here in the garage and try to get a few things done. So pardon the messy garage. We're in the middle of remodeling the house, now doing this and a few other things. So come along as we work on the van. What makes these vans difficult to work on is, as you can tell, the hood is tiny. This is about all the space I have here to work on the van. So when I was working on the air conditioning AC compressor and replacing that with the AC components and working on that, it wasn't a big deal, because I could access this. All I do is move some hoses around as I was able to get in here. But from basically the front of the timing chain cover back, I can't access any of that because of how small this compartment is. And so what they did in order to make this easier to work on is they added they have an access cover inside the van that allows me to have access to the engine from the inside of the van. And we're going to go there. What makes this difficult is if you ever want to change out this motor, you actually have to literally drop it out from the bottom. You can't like on a truck, a big truck body or SUV, where you can pull it out through the front. Top. This one you actually drop it out at the bottom, or you have to remove everything up front here. And when you remove everything up front here, you can wiggle it out this way. But it becomes a lot more difficult when you have to do that. So let's go inside, and I'll show you our situation in there. All right, so this is a Dodge 318 V8. It was a used van. I've worked on this engine a little bit before, in the sense of I've replaced the air filter in it. I've cleaned the throttle body in it after we got it. It's just part for the course.
And I don't have a distributor cap or rotor button, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to get back into this anyway, because I'm going to replace the oil sending unit here, because it's leaking, and two, it's old, so I might as well replace it. They're pretty inexpensive. And then two, I'm going to have to come over here and replace the valve cover gasket. It's leaking oil as well. And I want to make sure to get those things tied up before we travel too much. But for now, my goal is to pull these wires and pull these plugs. I want to look at them all. I want to see what kind of condition they're in. They're called, this is actually says Wired for Life. And it's actually a plug wire, as far as I understand, is a, let's see, it says a Belden Edge, which I believe is sold by Napa Auto Parts. And they look like they're in very good condition. I first looked at them like, man, these don't look old at all. And I don't remember when I do not know when the guy did the last service, but they don't look bad at all. And so I'm going to go ahead and replace them, because I'm already in here for the plugs. I bought the wires. I might as well replace them all. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out the wires and the plugs, and then I'm going to try to lay them out where I see where they go as well. So let's get working on that. All right, so I got all 4 of the spark plugs out, and they all look great, which makes me very happy. When we bought the van, it is a 22, 23, 24-year-old van, so it's not new, but it only had 115,000.
23 going on 24.
23 going on 24 years old, but it only had 115,000 miles on it. And obviously, the guy I talked to had service records. He had a whole bunch of work done to it. He definitely took care of it. And he was only getting rid of it because he was retiring and his kids had grown up and he no longer needed it. Anyway, so I've already got all 4 out. Now, one thing you can do is, as you're pulling these wires, if you lay out the new one shortest to longest, you can compare the lengths of these wires with the wires that you just bought, and that way you exchange them out directly. But if you don't do that, let's say you're to this point now and you don't you don't know where all the wires went, you're just starting from scratch. Well, keep in mind a couple things. Okay, so the longest wire is going to go from the distributor to the farthest plug away. Notice the distributor is not in the center of the engine. It's off to the driver's side just a little bit. So the longest wire will go from the distributor to the passenger front, which is the second cylinder. And then the second one will go to the first cylinder. And the third one will go third longest to this one, fourth longest to the fourth cylinder, the fifth longest to the fifth, to the sixth cylinder, and then you keep going back and forth, and then you go the next one to this one, and then your shortest length of a plug wire should go right here to cylinder number 7, and your second shortest should go here. It's not very complicated. They just cut them to specific lengths. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to replace all these with the E3 plugs, and let me pull one out so you can see it.
We also don't. In the beginning, we disconnected the battery. So.
Yeah, when you do this kind of stuff, you definitely want to disconnect your battery for a couple reasons. One is you don't want to short anything out electrical because you're messing with electrical things. Number 2, it will drain your battery to have your doors open, especially working inside the van. So we want to go ahead. We went ahead and disconnected that, and before we got started. Okay.
May I see what one looks like? Yeah. That is gorgeous.
Here's a new one. That's called an E3. We can see it. It's an E3. It has technically 3.
That's why it's called an E3.
I think those are electrodes, is what that's called. 3
Electro, which starts with
electrodes.
E, and there's 3 of them.
Yeah,
E3.
Probably so. And so I do not believe that there's a way to gap this. It's pretty much gapped the way it will be. So here's what I'm taking out, and here's what I'm replacing it with. So they're a bit different in length. I wonder if that's going to affect anything.
Maybe better gas mileage.
I don't think they're going to hit, because if you look at the electrodes, they're only about 1/8 of an inch difference in that. So Yeah. So anyway, all right, I'm going to put these in, and we're going to go move on to the other side.
2 hours later.
Okay. All right. Okay, so they're all installed. Everything should be good to go. I don't think they make wires like they used to. I'm slipping out. Well, I slipped out. Okay. Because the Napa wires had all plenty of length. And these, I had a few of them that I was like, man, that just seems short. But I was able to get them all on, so I guess that's all that really matters. I'm going to start it up. We'll see how it runs. As long as it's not misfiring and stuff, we can consider the job done. And then I'm going to move on with the rest of the maintenance of the van. Here we go. Hook up the battery. All right, so I did the spark plugs with the E3s in that ran pretty good, but it still had the misfire in it. And I have a scan tool that I had bought, real cheap scan tool I bought, and that I've had for a while. And I threw it on there, and it said I had an open circuit at the cylinder 3 fuel injector. And so I pulled off the air cleaner, and sure enough, these wires completely wore out. I don't know if a mouse chewed through them. I don't know if you can see that or not. See if I can get the focus on it. Might be a little too close. I don't know if a mouse chewed through them or if they just wore over time. I don't have a lot to work with here. I'm going to try to repair it and put it get back together. If not, I'll have to go get one of these plugs off another vehicle I have that's not here. Alrighty, so what I want to have to do is, this is a pretty close cut thing, or close thing where they broke. So I'm going to have to, I got these little fasteners, the little splice connectors, and oops, well, 3 fell out. I only need 2. And so now you get these. I'm going to cut off this little end right here. Hey Elisha, how are you?
Good. Sorry, I disappeared for a few minutes.
That's all right.
Cleaning the room.
I gotta, because I have to have as much room on here as I can get on this little connector to make it work. Oh, let me try my pliers instead of my knife. Try to get this cut here.
So what's that for?
This is a splice connector. I gotta be real careful here.
So what are you gonna do with that piece?
You'll see. And then what I do, I'm gonna trim it back as far as I can get it. I'm gonna try to trim it back because got an airplane flying close by. That way I can get it as close to that connector as possible. See, and then I can pinch it down. But these are shorter right here. But if I can get that on there like that, I still have enough room to pinch it down, and that's what I want to do. So I'm going to cut it and just do the one side like that. They should never touch because there's gaps between the wires. And so, you see if I can get this, because I do not want these to come off. Like I said, I'm already risky in how I'm handling this. I don't feel like replacing it. But see, those won't touch. There's no way that that's going to touch and spoil anything. So I'm going to pause here and I'm going to go strip the other on the engine and place this on. You can see right there, I finally got it. And I went ahead and plugged it in. And so that gives me an ejector. As you can tell, that's what it's supposed to look like back there. That's what it looks like now. And that green one didn't go in as far as I would like it to. But it's holding and it's not pulling out. So we're going to try to start the van and see what happens. Let's see if it'll start and run well for us. Boy, that sounds so much better. Boy, that sounds so much better. Check engine light went off.